a thought-provoking session on reimagining leadership in the age of artificial intelligence. And my pleasure to invite our panelists for this session on the stage. Anila Ratan. If we have Payal Mirakur in the house, we are running early, so we don't blame them if they're not here at the moment. Rajesh Ranjan. Okay.
Vishal Manchanda. Chitra Rajendra. Deepak Thakkar. Rajan Mishra. Rachna Benot. They're here, right?
Yeah, because we are 10 minutes early.
I guess we have to dance a little bit.
Yeah, good idea.
Hey, how about we get the Desi Girl in song now? Desi Girl?
So we do have with us.
To celebrate antiquity, to celebrate a culture that lives on through a special somebody, a Sufi culture that lives on through, yeah. To cut a long story short, we have a beautiful Sufi singer in the house. I'm only introducing you to her. You can say hello and meet her. She'll start to set up, but we will hear her beautiful singing just after the artificial intelligence session.
Hi.
Sonia Arora.
Thanks for inviting me. Thank you. हम शुरू से हमारा घराना हम कव्वालियाँ गाते हैं. हम दरगाहों पे कव्वालियाँ गाते थे. आप शायद हिंदी समझ रहे हैं तो हम कव्वालियाँ गाते हैं शुरू से. मेरे फादर, मेरे दादाजी, मेरे नाना जी, तो ये हमारी घराना कव्वालियाँ गाते गाते आज हम दरगाहों पे गाते गाते आज हम दरबारों में गाते हैं. थैंक यू सो मच. और अभी जो चेहरे मूवी आ रही है आमिर खान की, उसके 3 गाने मेरे हैं, तो उसमें
Sonia is saying that she comes from a family background. There's some people from abroad as well. She comes from a family background where they used to sing qawwalis. It's a form of singing, group singing, with a lot of devotional element to it. And they used to sing at the shrines and tombs of saints. And just from there, she started her journey, and she's expanded into a lot of other genres as well. Thank you, Sonia. I know you're a woman of few words because your heart is full of songs, and we are looking forward to. So we are going to use this time for about 5-7 minutes to set up the music instruments. Thereafter, we have a session with Anila Ratan. She's around somewhere, and we are. Anila, you're here. Okay, great to have you here. So we will start calling all the speakers on Anila's session here, and meanwhile also set up the stage for the Sufi singing that follows right after the session on artificial intelligence. Thank you.
Shukriya.
Thank you.
If I could invite Anila Ratan on the stage, please. Anila is an accomplished trainer, a facilitator, and a strategic consultant, and has been generous enough to put together this empowering session on artificial intelligence, and I invite her co-panelists on the stage, Payal Mirakur. Is Payal with us? Rajesh Ranjan, Vishal Manchanda, Suchitra Rajendra, Deepa Kakkar, Ranjan Mishra and Rachna Behnot. Welcoming all the amazing speakers for this session that are going to take us through what it means to unravel this fourth industrial revolution. Are we ready? Are we not? What do we need? What is the tools we need to understand and cope with this? Because this is a revolution like we may not have experienced before. Artificial intelligence.
Good evening, everybody. Well, as you're all aware, the session is on reimagining leadership in the age of AI. The increasing use of AI in business is disrupting the traditional way of conducting business in all aspects. The fact that AI is here and is having an impact does not need to be discussed, and therefore we as a panel will explore its impact on leadership. We intend to focus on our observations and strategies we are employing in response to this change. I would like to introduce the panel. Payal Kaul Mirakur. She's the Chief Commercial Officer at ISS, has previously worked with Invest India, which is the national IPA of the country, and Arisend. A charismatic leader with a quick grasp of business imperatives, a strong believer of karma, and an absolutely wonderful mother and a close friend. Suchitra Rajendra, CHRO and VP of PepsiCo, worked with Cerebrus Consultants and Work Ventures, a dynamic lady with an electrifying presence and a clarity of thought. Unfortunately, though Suchitra really wanted to be here, a last-minute business travel has kept her away from us. Deepa Kakkar, Senior Leader, HR Sienna, worked with Colt, XL Capital and Cadence. A cheerful, passionate and fearless professional with a knack of getting people excited and motivated along with her business acumen makes her indispensable for business. Currently keeping pace with her 16 and 10-year-old Gen Zs is her greatest challenge. Rachna Behnot, Client HR Leader, India Domestic Businesses at IBM, previously worked with IBM Global Process Services. A passionate HR professional with an astute ability to understand people, a positive person, and a cancer warrior. Rajesh Ranjan, HR Head at Global Logic, worked with Genpact, Career Launcher, and IBM. An individual with the ability to make long-lasting relationships with people. He is regarded as a great coach and mentor by his peers and subordinates. Vishal Manchanda, AVP Human Resources at Cvent, has worked with Tangents and Quadrant Infotech. Unfortunately, couldn't make it. He's missed his flight and right now is at the US airport. Mr. Ranjan Mishra, Senior VP HR Business Partner at Vodafone Idea Limited, worked with Delphi, Gillette, and Coca-Cola. Ranjan's forte lies in mergers and acquisitions, change management, and culture building in fast-changing, high-tech environments. So that's the panel we have today. And the way we've planned it is I would ask a question and we will answer. How is the increasing use of AI in business impacting talent development at the leadership level? Could you share the changes you have observed, Rajesh?
Thank you, Anila. So, talent development has been impacted a lot by AI, and I would have some 2 to 3 quick observations of how it has impacted. The first one being that there is a shift, a paradigm shift from the so-called hard skills of leadership to soft skills. So what I mean by hard skills is that of data processing or cognitive data processing, and softer skills towards personality traits, attitudes, behaviors. So with more time available in hand, because most of this work is being done by AI, leaders have more time available to invest their time into better things. So that's one shift which has happened. The second one is that AI has actually reduced the shelf life of technical skills. And because of this, a lot of organizations are now investing in reskilling their employees. What it essentially means is that employees now have to unlearn what they knew and learn new skills. A lot of budget is also being allocated by organizations towards this initiative. I was also reading a recent report by LinkedIn on the workplace. It's called the Workplace Learning Report, and it says that the major focus of today's talent developers this year is to identify, assess, and close the skill gaps with their employees. The third observation that I have is that organizations are already gearing up to it, because we see that a lot of new job roles and job positions have been opened in organizations which never existed before. For example, Chief AI Officer, Chief Data Officer, Chief Information Officer. Right? So these positions were never there earlier. So it's there only for the last couple of years. And not all organizations have it. But then it is at the top of the tree right now. And I believe as technology spreads further, it will cascade down further.
Ranjan, what do you think about these changes, and what is your observation?
So thank you, Anila, for sort of setting the context so simply to a not so simple subject. If I have to respond to this question, I'll respond in a what and how of development. So if you look at, it allows the business leadership and HR in particular to sharpshoot, okay? Because there is enough of data, okay? There are enough of models which are available. And if you look at leadership, is all about focusing on customer, driving your profitability and driving business across the product lines and geographies, focusing on your people, and also the larger purpose, because at times the purpose may not be the profits only if you are working for a non-profit organization. And, it gives immense opportunity, okay, to refine the data and envision various scenarios and models. This just helps you sort of, drive better results as far as the talent development is concerned. And therefore, what is it that is going to change in the business or in the business model. Therefore, you can align the people development in this arena much in advance. Otherwise, what used to happen in the boardroom, a decision is taken, and then you are informed, and then you start either picking up the talent from the market, or you develop it yourself. Now, AI, because it is a recent intervention, the cost of people to acquire is high, and they are millennials, so they come at a sort of a cost. You need to build an ecosystem which is conducive for them. You cannot have a sort of with the digital immigrants, creating an environment for digital heirs, isn't it? So you need to have that piece. So it helps you sort of customize your solution. Now let me sort of come to what is it that need to be developed. All of us in the organization setup are firm believer of hierarchy. Whereas digital or agile way of working drives you to work in collaboration. You have those tribes, chapters, and therefore you get a problem, you work on that as a team, and there is there is no hierarchy that goes in that. So developing your leadership on moving from hardcore hierarchy or authority to collaboration is one thing which is important. The second thing is, how is it that your mindset moves from profitability to valuation? If you look at all the digital-based solutions which is there, and all from top to bottom, it's a belief that you need to work towards building the valuation and not get into today and now. It does not mean that you will not be driving a profitable business. The third and most important thing is you need to balance between process and innovation. So if you ask me, these all are the three fundamental changes that you need to make in your organization's talent if you are looking at AI as a lever to drive people development.
Thank you, Ranjan. My second question is, how are leaders responding to the increasing use of AI in business? Top 2 observations, examples will certainly help, and top 2 strategies that you have implemented to support your leaders. Deepa, what do you think?
Thank you, Anila. No, absolutely, like Ranjan mentioned, AI is penetrating organizations, and there's no two facts about it. You have to embrace it. You have to come forward as leaders to see how you can impact it, because at the end of the day, it's all about innovating, profitability, and all of that. And your competitors are doing it, and there's no way you cannot do it. And HR is very ripe for implementing AI, not only the businesses. So again, one of the things as leaders that we have to be able to do is envision the possibilities that AI throws up. I'm personally very excited about being part of this technological revolution and the changes that it is bringing in. It's all about unlearning what you have learned so far, your paradigms, your assumptions, and looking at them afresh in light of what AI offers as possibilities. And therefore, as leaders, the most important thing you have to do is unlearn and learn. And that's where your reverse mentorings also come into play. You work with the millennials who bring in those skills and capabilities. Work with them, let them teach you, and don't shy away from asking them for help or questions or spending extra time with them. And that's something we really encourage in our organization, because one, we are a product company, and we lead the world when it comes to optimizing telecom networks. And you can't dig up earth, or you can't lay subsea cables every now and then. What you have to do is increase capacity, and you do that through AI. So in our products, AI is being used in a big way, and our leaders are, I'm very happy to say, are embracing and spending time with these 25, 26-year-olds to understand the technology to understand whatever it takes, R, Python, and so on. But what they are able to bring to the table is possibilities. That years of experience on and the big picture. And the other thing that they need to be able to do is decompose those possibilities to make it understandable for that millennial to be able to support in furthering the business. So I think that's one thing which is very important for us as leaders to be able to do. Understand, unlearn, imagine the possibilities, and facilitate those paradigm shifts. The other thing which the leaders have to do a lot of is coach. Because what we are seeing is a lot of these youngsters are acquiring, very important and key roles. And a lot of time, your soft skills and the development of soft skills get missed in the process. Just as an example, and this is not in my organization, but a colleague walked up to me the other day and said, you know what, my son, he's joined, I won't name the company here, but a very big player. And he was in his third year at Carnegie Mellon, and says he's been given an offer and they're saying that just leave it, like the typical dropout. And we as typical Indian parents telling them, no, first complete your course and then you can join this big name. So obviously he went and joined them after he had completed the degree and in the AI department. After 2 years, he's on an expat assignment in UK, leading a team of 25 people. And his father, who's a very senior director in our organization, could foresee what that means for this 25-year-old. And it's so reflective of what's going on over there. And imagine someone with 2 years of experience, because he's really, really bright. But is he going to be able to lead a team of 25 people? I'm not too sure about that. Maybe he will. There will always be those stars out there. But more often than not, we have to be cognizant of these possibilities. And leaders would need to be more and more coaches, hand-holding them and setting them up for success. Not really in a preachy way, but hand-holding them and leading them through all of these challenges. So in my view, these are the two critical aspects of leadership that need to be displayed in this whole paradigm shift that is happening these days in the space of AI.
Deepa, what are the two strategies that you're implementing, as in the company right now? What are you doing?
So one of them I alluded to, there is this concept of reverse mentoring, and which is being embraced because we all realize, we have kids back home who belong to that generation. We meet these people, they are part of our teams. We don't know that space is a bit alien for us. So there's no harm in going and acknowledging that and spending time with them and realizing and understanding, what is it that we can do together. So I bring the experience and wisdom of all of these years, and you bring this cutting-edge technology, and together there's a lot that can be achieved. So, and to Ranjan's point, the hierarchies are breaking away, and that's another thing that we have to be comfortable with. So your whole concept of pay parity, your whole concept of promotion only after, you'll move certain levels only after, say, 2 years, 4 years, and 6 years, all of that is going to go away. But most importantly, you have to be able to have a conversation with them and chart out a career path for the next 30, 35 years of their working lives. Because if at the age of 26, you're leading a team of 25, you have to work till the age of 28, 58, 60. So how do you work with them to be able to crystallize career paths and career options, which need not be linear? It can go left, right, and not necessarily in a vertical way. So those are some of the things that we are trying to do and work with all the generations that are there. There's a generation X, Y, millennials, and some teams have almost 4 generations working in the same setup. So as a leader, they have to just bring everybody together as a team, which is together everyone achieves more.
Deepa, I found it very interesting when you used the word reverse coaching. So is this a structured way that is happening for the company? Or this is something that is an ongoing organic method being used?
So there are several ways that we are trying to do that. One is, some of it is structured because you have to spend time, you have to get into a huddle and let the youngster explain what's on his or her mind. So some of it is structured. Then there are brown bags where we have, during lunchtime, we call them brown bags because, again, it's a derivative of a US term where you have lunch, 1.5 hour meetings, and you get some sandwiches in a brown bag. But okay, we've continued to call it brown bag. But you have brown bag sessions where you pick up a certain element and have about a 60-90 minute discussion, free-flowing discussion, loosely structured, but free-flowing discussion around a particular topic, and you brainstorm without inhibitions. And the leader who's there in the room has to ensure that everybody feels comfortable sharing, judging, not judging, and just speaking their minds. And I think the millennials get it. They feel very good that they're being heard. So it's some of it is structured. We call it reverse mentoring. Some of it is unstructured, brown bags, and so on.
Thank you, Deepa. I'm wondering, Rajesh, what are the two strategies that you have implemented? Is there something that you've done in Global Logic that you would like to share?
Thank you. Yeah, in fact, we've done a couple of things, Anila. The first thing is that when you talk about AI, it is all about data that is being fed into the AI system. And if that data is not authentic, the output will not be very authentic. So what we've done is we are looking at our data sets and our teams. So for our data to be very authentic, our teams must be very diverse. So we are focusing on diversity of our teams. And I'll give you a very simple example to correlate with why I'm talking about diversity when we're talking about AI. If all of us can recall, in 2017, there was a beautification app that was released in the market that got viral for all the wrong reasons. So it used to beautify the photo of an individual by lightening the skin tone of that individual. Unfortunately, the AI behind that app did not have an authentic data set. And why was that? That was because the development team itself was not diverse enough. So now I think everyone can correlate as to why I'm saying diversity is important, because data is important. So when you talk about AI, you need to have very good, authentic data in order to get the maximum from the AI machine that you're talking about. So that's one that we are focusing on, diversity and inclusion. The second point is about fostering a culture of continuous learning. Learning cannot happen once in a while. It has to be a journey. So that's what we are focusing on in Global Logic. Again, I was reading in the Irish Management Institute report, and it says that by 2023, approximately 17% of the consumer banking services will be led by fintech. Now, fintech is completely based on AI and automation. So you can understand, this is just giving us a glimpse of the future. So if we as leaders cannot enable or foster a culture of continuous learning, we will fall behind competition. So that's something that we are focusing on. And the third and most important thing that we are doing is, this is a very transformative age that we are living in. So we are trying to incorporate or inculcate a transformative thinking, disruptive thinking, questioning, listening, introspecting. So all of these things are actually appreciated in our organization. Curiosity, creativity. We encourage our employees to come ahead and give us solutions to our problems, problems which are there inside the organization. In fact, we also conduct hackathons. Even, as we speak today, there was a hackathon that we have released on AI itself, where we ask our employees to come up with solutions, new age solutions to our problems. So I think, these are the couple of steps that we've taken in my organization.
Thank you. Rashna, I was wondering, is there something you would like to share in terms of strategy or org structure that in response is changing?
So I think, first of all, we need to be the change that we want to see, right? So there's a lot of change, yes, all across. If I was to talk about our leadership per se, I think what we do need to enable them or to let them understand is that there is a lot that they don't know at this point in time. So how is it that they need to unlearn what they know in the new age of AI? What is it that they need to learn in this new age? And what is it that they don't know? So it's not about a competitive landscape with AI. It is about augmenting, complementing, and getting people who work with you to skill up and to be in the right, and to be there to kind of make it a holistic team like my co-panelists have just talked about. So that's really important, I think. A second angle, which I think very importantly, very, very important for our leaders at this point is to be, there is the learning curve that everybody needs to go through. Everybody needs to reskill and look at new paradigms. I think our leaders need to kind of, augment that, and they need to kind of protect it and go ahead and make sure that there is opportunity, there is innovation, there's creativity that is really given an opportunity in their organization. So continuous learning, I think, like you said, is really, really important at this point in time. The third thing that I'm really seeing for our leaders at this point is being very resilient, I would say. So resiliency, this is a time of turbulence. This is a time of transformation. It's not transformation in, an incremental form. It is transformation in a very big way and requires a very big change. It's like your iceberg is melting, and how is it that you're going to really, do the dance around that? And last but not the least, IA is designed to look at and do things which are like hard-coded, like my colleagues just said. So what happens to EQ? So EQ is greater than IQ for our leaders tomorrow is really, really important aspect that I would focus on. Because you really cannot, at least at this point in time, you can't substitute emotions, you can't substitute inferred skills, and you can't look at what is it that the person is feeling versus what the person is saying or doing. So leadership needs to be authentic and needs to kind of, adjust and accommodate towards that. And strategies around this are what are going to make an organization successful. So we are trending and treading phenomenally towards each one of these.
Thank you, Rachna. I'm wondering, how are you actually preparing the leadership team to handle the increasing use of AI in decision-making specifically?
So, like I said, for each one of these, the ones that I just spoke about, I think yet another angle that I see is that the workforce is changing, the workplace is changing, and the work itself is changing. And under those circumstances, as long as leaders recognize what is the transformation that they're seeing, as long as they are self-aware, they can create a vision of what they foresee in the future. They will be able to, enable all these changes and enable the actions that I just spoke about. And that's primarily the role that, we are playing. I'm particularly involved in my entire team in enabling the leaders to embrace, to augment and actually live that life. And an organization like IBM, we'll appreciate, while it does take the elephant a long time to turn, but as far as, AI and cognitive and skills of the future are concerned, I think the leadership lies there. And Watson is definitely like a kingpin as far as that is concerned. So it's taken a lot for us to learn and unlearn.
Mm-hmm. Have you observed what the leaders are actually doing in terms of a concrete example in response?
I think the openness, so one very clear one is the openness to, looking at new skills, new ways of working in totality. I mean, that's something that I see each one of the leaders just pick up and move ahead with. Second one, like, Deepa just talked about, I think recognizing the fact that there needs to be mutual mentoring. And we don't really call it only reverse mentoring, because there's a lot, that we have to give, and there's a lot that our millennials and our AI augmented teams have to really bring forward. So I think that mutual mentoring environment is something that we're really encouraging at this point. And diversity and inclusion, I couldn't stop talking about that, but I'm not going to take off on that one.
Sure. Thanks, Rachna. Payal, in your opinion, what are the top 3 challenges that leaders are grappling in the current scenario?
Okay. Thanks. So I think, we did touch upon one point which is very close to my heart before the discussion also started. I think one of the most imperative challenge that all leaders face is the moral or the ethical dilemma in front of us. And if you look at, what has happened in with some of the giants like Facebook, etc., and the entire gig economy, and how it is evolving, you would appreciate that every technology has a dark side. So it is up to the leaders to recognize and appreciate both the power as well as the limitation of the technology, be it AI, cloud, all the current set of technologies, in helping to solve business problems and balance it with human ingenuity. I think this is the topmost challenge. The second challenge I feel is the whole interplay between technology and manpower. Right? A lot of companies are jumping into AI because they want to cut costs, they want to automate. And I really don't think it makes sense to just do this for cost cutting. Digital transformation or AI is a business imperative. It needs a strategy. There has to be an endpoint. It has to be a very well thought of transformation that companies will go through. And the leaders need to have the empathy to manage their workforce and ensure that as the company transforms towards digital transformation, the workforce is being looked at. And this needs actually a very different leadership style. And I'm sure you would all have seen that from command and control, we need to go more towards the experimental or the collaborative leadership style. There has to be allowances for failure. Leaders need to allow people to fail, to set patterns, and to basically give space for innovation and new business models to come up. And third, I think a lot of us have already discussed, is skilling, reskilling, and ensuring that we keep pace with the rate of change based on the skill set that we have on board.
That's very interesting. And to conclude, I have a question for you. What are you personally doing to adjust to this change? Is there something that you're working on? Do you have a personal strategy?
I shifted jobs. Okay. No, so what I think it is extremely important as leaders to know what is happening, to keep pace. And for me personally, having worked in technology industry all my life and now shifting to an industry which is very different and completely manpower based, into an integrated facilities management. We employ around 500,000 people all over the world. And we partner with IBM, by the way. Watson is a partner. And so just to get on the application side of technology and see how it is actually impacting manpower and having an answer. And that's why, I tread on this a little more cynically versus a lot of others. I know it's here to stay, but I think it's very important that we be cognitive that it can have a negative impact. So we have to act in a very responsible manner.
Thank you, Payal. And I would thank everybody on the panel for their views and for contributing and sharing their observations as well as what is being done in their organizations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, panelists, for shedding light on the very daunting topic of artificial intelligence. I would now like to call upon Dr. Harbeen Arora and Mrs. Anila Ratan to join Harbeen Arora in presenting the awards to our panelists.
Before we start the presentation ceremony for our panelists here, first of all, I would like us all to give a huge round of applause to everybody here. Day 5, last session of the day on artificial intelligence, and you all made it so interesting. And I want to especially commend Anila, who has been working painstakingly for the past couple of months to curate this plenary. Thank you everyone. And Anila, I loved, I had some few WhatsApp conversations with Anila, lovely. Where is she? Okay, she's around, we'll find her. And you reminded me of how a weaver weaves a sari or a whatever fabric with just every strand, looking at the color, the texture. Like, she's so much a perfectionist in a very good way, in a very constructive way. Like, she's really builds the whole thing piece by piece, looking at everything with great amount of attention and love. It's so precious and so rare, and Anila, I want to commend you for that. Really big round of applause for Anila, please, for putting this together.
Harbeen has absolutely embarrassed me.
I am guilty of doing that quite often.
So we'll go ahead with the awards. Payal Kaul Mirakur, please step up to receive your award for Exceptional Woman of Excellence. Rajesh Ranjan, please receive your award for Exceptional Leader of Excellence. Vishal Manchanda, Exceptional Leader of Excellence. Suchitra Rajendran, Exceptional Leader of Excellence. Deepa Kakkar, please accept your award for being an Exceptional Leader of Excellence. Ranjan Mishra, Exceptional Leader of Excellence. Rachna Banot, Exceptional Leader of Excellence. I request all the panelists to join and step up for a group photograph. There's another announcement. We have amongst us Sonia Arora, eminent Sufi singer. Please welcome her, and please, all of you, please be seated and enjoy the show. We would also like to honor Sonia Arora for her work in the field of music as the Exceptional Woman of Excellence. Please, a round of applause for Sonia Arora. A round of applause, please.